Welcome back to the Christian View. The nursing profession has been brought into the media, more importantly, a video of The View where the host actually examined one of the contestants' monologue. Let's watch it for ourselves.
Let me do one thing, opera. She was incredible. Really good. Yeah. But then there was a girl who wrote her own monologue, which I was like, turn the volume up. Like, this is going to be amazing. Like, let's listen. And she came in her nurse's uniform and basically read her emails out loud. And shockingly did not win. I was like, that's not a real talent. I swear to God.
Why does she have a doctor's stethoscope around?
Was it about that? She helps patients with Alzheimer's, which I know is not funny, but I swear you have to see it. Like, Google it if you can.
Wow. I think we need to watch it for ourselves after that. Yeah, let's look at it.
Yeah. Woo.
But then one night, everything changed. I found him in his room crying, and I went over to him and I lifted his head up out of his hands and I said, Joe, I know that this is really hard, but you are not defined by this disease. You are not just Alzheimer's. You are still Joe. And he looked right back at me, almost to look through me, and said, Nurse Kelly, then the same goes for you. Although you say it all the time, you are not just a nurse. You are my nurse, and you have changed my life because you have cared about me. And that's when it hit me. Patients are people with family and friends, and I don't want to be a nurse that ever pretends, because you are not a room number and a diagnosis when you're in the hospital. You're a person, very first. And Joe reminded me that day that I'm a lifesaver. I'm never going to be just a nurse.
Wow, Skip. Oh, wow, Skip.
Yeah. Very well said.
How do you feel about that?
Well, when I first saw it, I think I can't remember where I first saw the clip, but when I saw that a Miss America contestant did a monologue about being a nurse, I was very touched by it. I was surprised that she would even be courageous enough to do that as her talent, because, you know, very different.
But it is a talent.
Yeah. And so I was very moved, very touched that she would do that, and that she felt so good about her profession, and that her talent indeed was caring for people.
You know, Skip, many times nurses' faces are the last faces people see before they leave this world. Nurses are angels to many people. They're angels.
Yeah. Many of them are, and you could tell in her expression and her monologue how passionate she is, and obviously that she felt that that was something so important that she wanted to share with everyone about how this patient had expressed that the nurse actually impacted his life. And I guess you find that quite often, do you, through the years? I'm sure there's different patients that are grumbly with you, but, you know, what's that relationship like?
I imagine you've been around some dying patients, haven't you?
Yeah, I have been around some. And when you think about patient care, it's not just the patient, you're caring for the families as well.
That's exactly right.
So, you know, being sensitive to them is also important. Yeah, it's very rewarding. You don't do it so people can say thank you, but it's very rewarding when a patient will look you in your eyes, Skip, and say thanks.
Both of my parents in their, like last week of their life, they were admitted into hospice care. And because of the way those nurses took care of, especially my mom, and were so loving and so kind. I remember coming in one day and one of them was brushing my mom's hair.
That's right. Makes
and,
a difference.
you know, at the end, my sister said, well, where, in lieu of flowers, where would we want money to go? I said, hospice care.
Oh, that's
because
good.
of the way they had treated my mom, just seeing that nurse brushing my mom, that, and just the way they treated us, to me, y'all are heroes.
That's exactly right. Well, that's what they say. Save one life, you're a hero. And save hundreds of lives, and you're a nurse.
And like that patient said in that particular monologue, he said, you're not just a nurse.
That's
Isn't that
right.
powerful? How do you think that made nurses overall feel?
Well, I think it was a great reminder, because oftentimes in the general public, nurses are not necessarily encouraged or promoted or whatever, and so I think nurses all around, I think it had to boost us. It boosted me, and I imagine other nurses as well. Just to have somebody in the public eye going, you know, no, I am not just a nurse.
Yes. Skip, do you find there's a lot of stress in nursing? We talked a little bit about that, but you know, there have been times that I've seen nurses come into patients' rooms and they're quiet or cold or frustrated or whatever. I mean, speak to the fact that it's a tough job, and that sometimes maybe the nurse needs to be a little more tender and kind, but as well, the patient needs to be understanding if a nurse has just worked a 12-hour shift or something like that. Speak to the difficulty of your job.
Right. Well, one of the things that I do when I work with student nurses is I tell them, you know, you might have had a horrible moment before you got to work or to the hospital or to wherever to take care of this patient, but once you get ready to enter their room, you need to leave that at the door. And so that's why it's so important for nurses as caregivers to make sure we're giving self-care, because based on how I'm doing, when I come up in your room, you might be affected by that.
That's exactly right.
Give an example of self-care.
An example of self-care. Oh, okay.
Bubble baths and candles.
Yeah, that. You know, unfortunately, sometimes I think nurses have very bad eating habits. Eating on the run, I know sometimes for myself, I'm trying to eat real fast. So that would be huge, is paying attention. Nutrition, of course, exercise. You know, if you're working in the hospital, you're getting a lot of exercise anyway, moving. But, you know, and just taking some time out just to be quiet for you. You know, because as nurses, as caregivers, we're giving care all the time. It's not just when you're at work. When somebody knows you're a nurse, people have asked me questions, I'm like, I don't know. Well, you're a nurse, you said no. I don't know everything. You know? So yeah. I would say those are.
What about roller coasters? Do you do that? You ride on roller coasters and scream?
Well, I did before I got a bad neck. I can't do that anymore. But I do like to do aerobics and dance.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
What is your favorite part of nursing?
The people contact. I'm a people person, and if I can connect with my patient, give a smile, you know.
That's it right there. That made your day. Stay with us. We're coming right back with Skip McDonald.